just can't fucking... sometimes I just can't fucking take it anymore. I mean, like, I can, but I can't. But I do, because I have to. But it feels like I just shouldn't have to because it's just so fucking sick. I mean, I'm not talking about some bad beat. Don't ever fucking bitch to me, meaning anybody. Don't fucking bitch about bad beats. Because you know something? Bad beats are the least tilting part about poker to me. They seem to be the most tilting for everybody else. But for me, not so much. Because there's nothing more to say after a bad beat. There was nothing more for you to do. The money was in. You were ahead, and you lost. What is there to talk about? You know they're going to win sometimes. So, whatever. I mean, this is Dead Money, episode 32. Welcome. We're still in season 1. I don't know when that's going to end. Probably just stay in season 1 forever, unless I change my name or something. But, all right. I mean, we gotta talk about some shit. So, I'm just going to get right into it. I don't want to waste time fucking around with hype and all this other garbage. Today... what else is new? I just need to yell. So the other night, I went to the Aria for the first time this year, and if you're not an avid listener of this podcast, then you may not know that the Aria Poker Room has been just an absolute house of horrors for me for quite some time now. Years and years. I did fine enough over there when I used to play higher, but 2-5 specifically has just been a constant train wreck. And obviously it means nothing because it's only over so few hours. But that's also the reason there have been so few hours. Things have gone so miserably over there, starting with when the cap was only 1,000. And now since when they raised it to 1,500 4 years ago. And it's just been so bad that I just never go there because what the hell for? I know it's just random variance and that it doesn't make a difference what freaking roof is over my head, what building I'm in. And I like the room a lot. People complain it's too dark in there, but I don't think it's too dark. I love the darkness. Makes it harder to see everybody's stupid fucking face. But why go there when all I do is get my fucking heart broken? Well, I hadn't played Friday or Saturday because I was busy, but now I wanted some Sunday night action. It was already nighttime since I'd already fucked off the rest of the day. I wanted a short session. A friend from New York was in town and he was staying there while he grinds, so fuck it. Give me some Aria. I am not going to let this cursed jinx that's been hanging over my head over a decade keep me out of there forever. Because you can't get ass fucked forever, right? So I'm in this game for not even a half hour. And I already moved seats to get some fishies on my right. Then this young Euro, WSOP reg, he opens 15 under the gun. There's 3 calls, and I've got the pocket kings and make it 90. Now you notice I called it kings and not king. Why do people refer to their hand that way when they have a pocket pair? Like I get it when you have 10-9, for instance, or Queen Jack, or 7 Deuce, because that's 2 separately ranking fucking cards. But when they're both the same, in this case kings, you can just say kings as an abbreviation for king. You'd think everyone would do that in a world where everyone demands everything be done as fast as possible, but I don't know. I guess everyone just wants any way they can to sound cool, and they decided pronouncing the ranking of both of their cards, even when they're the same, will achieve that. So, good for them. Anyway, so it folds back to the open raiser, and I decided that, even being 300 big blinds deep, that if he wants to play for all the money, then I'm going to go with the king in this spot in most post-flop runouts, because it's probably too soon to really say either of us have established an image. I've only been in the game for like not even a half hour, like I said, and with all the flatters to his open raise, I'm supposed to be a lot wider with my 3-bets, which means he's... in theory, supposed to be a lot wider with his 4-bets and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I know. Everyone's a fucking solver. But the original raiser just calls. No one else does. Heads up we go. The pot's around 225. And as the flop is coming, I thought, all right, he probably has a range of pocket pairs that will often start around 9-9. So, of course, the flop was 9-7-5. 2 diamonds. He checks. I considered checking, but it's not quite necessary heads up, so I bet 165. He works it for a little while and he calls. He didn't seem too concerned about anything yet. And before the turn card came, I was already telling myself, I think I'm just going to check back the turn and then see about the river. I was like 95% going to do that. And I was still feeling that way when the turn came, the jack of clubs, and he checks again. Two-tone board now, and I have the king of diamonds, so I block some of the flush draws or pair plus hands like king, queen, or king 10 of diamonds, king jack of diamonds. No, yeah, king jack of diamonds, that's in there too. I haven't seen this guy play any pots yet, but I can't be too sure just how wide he's going to call 3 bets out of position with 3 players left, so that's just some more food for thought. So I was all set to check, but then I started thinking, went into some thought. During the World Series of Poker, you often see a widened variety of interesting things. You see people trap in spots, you don't see a lot of traps. You see massive bluffs in spots where you don't see a lot of massive bluffs. And you see massive calls in spots, you don't see a lot of massive calls. So what started going through my head was, I can try and hit a home run here. Because not only can that conceivably rep combo draws for both clubs and diamonds, I 100% would have a lot of semi-bluffs for either suit anyway. So jamming here would totally balance me. Now when this board is 9-7-5 jack in a 3-bet pot, 2-tone board, I 100% will be getting here with ace-king suited, ace-queen suited, ace-8 suited, ace-4 suited, ace-6 suited, ace-7 suited, king-queen suited, king-10 suited, queen-10 suited, queen-jack suited maybe? On and on, yeah. I got all them hands, clubs and diamonds. This board is a semi-bluff haven, but I ain't semi-bluffing this time. I got the king-king this time. And if I jam over about 1,300, which he covers, that's about 2.3x pot. Is he going to hero with 8s or 10s? Beat only in bluffs and have a gut shot just in case it's behind? Or possibly pocket queens queen if he didn't 4-bet? It would be tough. But, as I said, 8-8 and 10-10 have 6 outs instead of 2 when they are behind. So given what goes on during the WSOP, I actually thought randomizing a jam in this spot actually had a bit of merit. And it was just kind of funny to think about because I was so dead set on checking even before the turn card came out. But now here I am contemplating a shove and getting closer and closer to it. Now, if he does have, say, either a nut flush draw or better yet, king, jack of diamonds. Well, no. Couldn't have king, jack of diamonds. But queen, jack of diamonds, ace, jack of diamonds, jack 10 of diamonds. He's probably going to feel like he can't fold. And if so, now I'm just getting the max. And if he just folds the other draws, well, all right. I mean, that's not the worst thing. Especially since if he calls, there's going to be some rivers that miss him, but he may be able to find a good bluff from it. And if he folds 8s or 10s, well, all right. Those hands are probably going to fold to a lot of sizes. And with so many bad rivers, I don't know, maybe checking back isn't the very best idea. But this massive size might just be the type that could get called this time of year. So fuck it. I pushed the little red button and went all in. And he immediately says, "Oh!" and jumps out of his seat. Now he's standing. At first I thought he said call. Thank God he didn't do that. But then he says in whatever European accent he had, I couldn't tell. I think maybe it was French. He says, "Do you have jacks?" I'm thinking, what? What do you mean, do I have jacks? Like Jack? I need to have Jack? That's what it seemed like. And if that's the case, that would mean he has to have a set of 9s, right? But if he has a set of 9s, or a set of anything, then why hasn't he called yet? So that was just a little confusing. So he's not quite tanking, but he's thinking, and he's looking all flustered, mildly flustered, I guess. I don't know what's happening, but I have a feeling when this is all over, I'm going to be very unhappy. And eventually, and I do mean eventually, he calls and he asks again, You have jacks? I said, I need jacks. And he said, solemnly, with his shoulders slumping, he's like, you have the jacks? Because he thought I did say I had them. River was one of not that many bricks. It was a 3. So I turned my stupid king over, and sure enough, he's got the set of 9s. Oh my. Now look. I know it doesn't change the result if he had snap called instead of going through this whole Days of Our Lives soap opera, but I don't care that doesn't make me any richer. These motherfucking people with their nitrolls. It's just the most unbearable thing to have to swallow in poker. It's worse than a slow roll. It really is. And I started getting on him. I said, wow, hero call. I said, how did you know? Takes guts to call with that hand. Then he says, thank you, sarcastically. And you can call me a bad loser for trolling, but I've said this before. I think nitrolling truly deserves to have people talk shit to them, especially from the loser, because first of all, they shouldn't even care because they just won piles. And second of all, they legitimately did just make themselves look quite stupid when they're sitting, or excuse me, in this case, standing there in agony, holding a stone monster nutted hand that is, once again, way the best hand. And most importantly, clearly a hand you're never, ever, 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 ever going to fold. So why the fuck are you putting on this show? Now look, there's plenty of times where I have had a hand I know I'm never folding. And still maybe I brace myself. But for like 2 or 3 seconds at the most. This went on for close to a minute. You got the nuts, you fucking ignoramus. Just put the goddamn money in. If in whatever bizarre chance I do somehow turn over either 8-6 or 10-8 for the straight, or the jack, the one hand you decided is all I can have, what are you going to do? You going to go fly a plane into the Eiffel Tower on the way home? Because you think you should have folded? The whole fucking point of him check calling that flop with top set instead of check raising, which is what a lot of people will do, was so that he can get his opponents to shovel in a lot more money with or without a bluff. And now I've just done precisely that. His dream has come true and beyond. And now he doesn't snap. When I was making these comments, nobody was laughing because, I don't know, I guess they thought I was so angry for getting nit-rolled that they shouldn't laugh? Or that they just didn't think it was funny because they thought I was being a baby? Whatever. Either way, whatever they thought, we all know every player in this game and casino and country and on this fucking planet is 100% thinking the same thing. Yeah, there is not a chance in the world you ever fold that, so what the fuck are you standing up for and chirping out these dumb noises, asking if I have jacks, and pacing back and forth like you don't have the most automatic fist-pumping call of your entire summer? And I'm not even going to get into how stupid it would be to go all in for more than 2 times the pot with top set on that spot on that board to begin with! So my first session at Aria, with the year almost halfway done, a total house of 2-5 horrors for me, so much that I can hardly ever bring myself back to poke my head up at this fucking godforsaken place for 2 seconds. 1, 2, 3, I am stacked again, less than 30 minutes in on what I knew was going to be a brief session no matter what happens. And of course, the one time I try this, I don't think I've even made a value play like this ever before. And the one time I try it, of course it fails as hard as possible by running into the top of his range. And of course I get stacked, and of course I get nit rolled. Unfucking real. Now this is variance, okay? Don't fucking bore me with your fucking getting queens in against fucking 10s and you hit a fucking 10, okay? Don't bore me with your stupid fucking variance bullshit fucking runouts, okay? That's the least entertaining, the least sickening part of any fucking variance. That shit happens. There's nothing to talk about. This fucking shit. This fucking jerk off. When I went all in. I mean, God. I always like to think about what would have happened if I, had taken another route. Let's say I had checked the turn. The river was a brick. It was a 3. So if he checked, I would have bet really big and folded to a jam. If he had just come out betting himself, I mean, depending on the size he picked, I may have folded. I mean, it would have been really strange. I mean, if I see a huge bet, I wouldn't think it's a bluff, because if he's trying to bluff me off ace high, he doesn't need to go that big, So I don't know what would have happened. I mean, we'll never know. But as played, I mean, look, I knew there was a chance that he'd have turned top set, and if I follow through on this play, I mean, it's going to leave me all in with 2 outs, or that if he had, flopped a set as well. I knew all those things were within the realm of possibility, but you know something? Fuck it. When you're playing No Limit Hold'em, sometimes it's wise to take a chance once in a while, and seeing the result of this hand should clearly explain why. Because you see how stupid people are. You see how long it takes them to call with the fucking virtual nuts. I suppose the size and the situation, just caught him off guard for a second. You should catch him off guard in a good way. Can't wait to call with that hand. Now, given how long it took him to call with his set of 9-9, my jam, in hindsight, we can see now is just a punt, because he would not have in a million years with a 1-pair hand called unless he had a flush draw to go with it. But, I didn't know that. Like I said, I was just randomizing this gigantic size in a spot like this because of just some of the unusual things that go on all throughout the World Series of Poker. So now we're into the next day. We're back at the Wynn. Back in a casino where I feel like winning is something I'm capable of doing. One guy posted the blinds from early position and the button raised to 25. I called with pocket 8s in the big blind end. We went heads up. And the button was also a European player. He turned out to be English. He looked young. And I think I'd seen him before, but I hadn't placed him yet. I mean, I don't know where I play with him. Probably the Wynn, but I hadn't realized that this is a familiar face. But he just seemed like, kind of a typical 2-5 player. I mean, just not very aggressive. He's fairly competent. So the flop comes, king, queen, deuce, rainbow. I check, and he checks. All right. I think I can win this pot now. Turn is another king. Now I bet 90 into him, which is roughly 2 times the pot. And I am not expecting him to fold yet. Like, I think queen X is his likeliest hand very often. Ace, queen, queen, jack, whatever. And as soon as he saw the turn bet, he looked a little anxious. I mean, there was no doubt about it. But he takes a little bit and he calls. River is another deuce, so the board has kings and 2s on it with the queen. And it's going to take some real firepower to get him off this one. So I go a little over 2x pot for 475, and he immediately looks perturbed and a bit flabbergasted. He's shuffling his chips kind of aggressively. You can hear them cracking hard on the felt as he's stacking and restacking them. It looks like he kind of wants to call, but knows he's probably isn't going to, hence the frustration. But this tank went on for a while. And what else is new? A European player tanking on the river for the entire duration of the World Series of Poker. So he's tanking and he's tanking some more. There's no table talk. Then I started thinking, well, this is good, because how often do these epic tanks end in folds? I mean, the answer is very often. Finally, someone calls the clock from my side of the table. I was in seat 1. So we get a floor. She goes through the proceedings with the player. And I love when they ask the dealer, have they had enough time to act? The dealer is always like, yes. What the dealer should say, he's had way too much time to think. And normally it's a 60-second countdown, but this floor lady only gave him 30. Thank God for that, actually. But the rules seem to change every day, don't they? Then says, so give him a 10-second countdown. And I thought to myself, all right, I'm very close to being very happy or very sad. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, calls. Fuck. So I turn my hand over. Now I'm going to give you a moment to guess. I'm going to give you one guess as to what this guy called with. And remember, I had pocket 8s. So, all right, you go ahead and think about it right now. I'm going to give you a few seconds. All right, you ready? He had pocket 7s. No, he didn't. Just kidding. He had king 10 suited. He had a fucking king! As soon as I saw his hand, I shouted at him, "Are you serious? How many fucking times is this going to happen?" Yesterday I had it. Well, I thought I had it. Either way, I proceeded as if I had the best hand. This time I didn't. Both times I'm running into a trap. Both times I get exactly what they could have hoped for. And both times they just stand there or sit there. You're setting a trap. Your opponent starts piling money at you, and then you don't snap. What the fuck are you doing? If you listen to this show a lot, then you know I run more than my fair share of overbet bluffs, and this is why. Look how long it takes people to call, even when they have the fucking nuts. I've said it multiple times already, and now I'm going to say it again. The speed it takes you to make a decision, depending on the gravity of the spot, of course, is often highly suggestive of your skill level. He flops top pair, decent kicker, and throws in a check back to induce, or he doesn't want to get check raised, whatever it is. Then he turns trips. Then he gets one of the best rivers in the deck after calling the turn, one of the best rivers in terms of simplifying his decision, when the board pairs the bottom card, and he needs 5 fucking minutes to call less than 100 big blinds on the river where the clock was called on him, and he runs the countdown all the way down to 0? This shit just makes me want to fucking scream and break something! I mean, I guess I should be thankful that the player pool on a literal daily basis can be this terrible, even when they are stone nutted. Now look, I know facing a sequence of a 2x turn bet and more than a 2x river bet is like not quite what he was expecting. It's not quite ideal. And that there is eventually a line that's going to get drawn where it probably isn't worth it to call even with that hand. And I'll admit, I don't know where precisely that line is. Is it 3.5x pot? Is it 5x? Is it 6x? I don't know. All I know is it's not 2.3x. He loses to 4 fucking combos of hands, and realistically, only one of them is ever going to show up, and that's quad deuces. There are 3 combos of king-queen, and for me to have king-queen, that means I have to just flat his isolating button open, which is not something I'm going to do that much. Granted, he doesn't know that. But then I'd have top 2, and then top full nuts on the turn, which means I block the fuck out of everything that could ever want to call, and be betting 2x the pot with that, and then over 2x on the river. I mean, he's thinking he's in chopper beat territory far too often. We know that, but it doesn't matter. You check back to pot control, try and induce a bluff. You turn 3 kings, and now you have the king on a double paired board, and you don't think it's even possible that I'm bluffing? It was like 2 hands before that where 3 players limped in, including him. I raised to 40 with king 6 suited, and that hand went to showdown because I made a fucking full house with it. That didn't enter his thinking at all. He still needed 5 minutes and a clock called running down to 0 to call a guy who just open raised that big with that mediocre of a hand to call with top full house and a spot where he checked in position to trap. God, I mean, I know every hand is independent and in a way one has nothing to do with another. But in the other way, they do. And if you see a guy raise big pre with king 6 suited, it should at least cross your mind that maybe this guy is just bluffing and that my trap worked to perfection. And he still sits there agonizing. I read him right on the turn. He was not happy about the situation. But he hangs on and he makes a crying call, clock at 0 with the virtual nuts. It is so fucking unbelievable what we see sometimes, but you know something? I guess that's why we show up, right? So a little after that, I was talking to the guys in seats 2 and 3, and they were both European also. I was in seat 1. The English guy was in seat 7 on the other side of the dealer. But I started talking to the guys next to me about what just happened, and seat 2's laughing. He's like, "You're on tilt." Which was funny because I actually wasn't on tilt. I mean, so I don't even know why he said that, because a whole orbit had already gone by, maybe even more than that, and I hadn't even played a hand since. That's not exactly the routine of someone who's on tilt right after they lose a big pot. But I said anyway, I was like, I'm not tilted because of the result. I'm tilted because he ran the clock down to 0, had to get the clock called on him, then runs it down to 0 to call with that hand. Then this guy says, well, he's like, you could have had him beat. He's like, he loses to quads or king queen. And I'm just like, okay. And then C3 says, he's like, well, he's like, to his credit, he's like, I actually think he was thinking about folding and that he wasn't trying to slow roll. I said, I don't think he was trying to slow roll at all either. I mean, I was like, that never even entered my head. His hand is just a clear snap call. There is nothing to think about. He is not going to fold. He knows he's not going to fold. How could he convince himself he's going to fucking fold that? And C3 agreed. C2 still wasn't as sure. Okay. Then something really interesting happens. I figured T and Cruppence and C3 could either hear what I was saying or could at least tell I was going on about that hand, but I didn't care. I'm going to talk about whatever the fuck I want. If he wants to say something, go right ahead. But then he comes around the table and he talks to me very politely and eloquently. He says, I wasn't trying to slow roll you. Your size was just extremely polarizing, going more than 2 times the pot. I said, I didn't think you were trying to slow roll. He said, you just think I had an easy call. I said, yes. I said, it's all right. I said, you're allowed to win. Then he sat back down, and shortly after that, he left. Then I said to the 2 Euros on my left, I said, I would have told him I'm sorry, and I didn't mean to be disrespectful earlier, but I didn't want to lie to him. I absolutely meant to disrespect him because he's disrespecting everybody by wasting everyone's fucking life, tanking forever for less than 100 big blinds, getting the clock called on him, running it down to 0 with once again a hand that he is never, ever, 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 ever going to fold. Not for that size. It's a big size, yes, and an unusual sequence of events, but I wasn't trying to make him fold. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, I think when the button raises pre there and he checks back flop, that their hand is oftentimes going to be capped at Queen X a huge percentage of the time. Or he just has 4 kings. The field does not check back top pair that often in a single race pot, that's all. So I went for it. And I thought I was just getting heroed by a hand that legitimately had a tough decision, but no. Once again, it was anything but. His hand has played. He is not getting to the river with hands that are any stronger than that unless he has quad kings. And if he has quad king king, and if that's the only hand he's not folding on the river, then perhaps playing poker isn't a great idea for him. He has a clear call. No ifs, no ands, no buts. A clear, fist-pumping, yes, my trap worked, snap call. Holy shit. And both of these fucking guys, Frenchie with set of 9s, or this guy, as soon as they win this hand, they're immediately getting on their phone, texting all their buddies like, holy shit, this fucking guy just fucking did this, and I had this fucking hand. Holy shit, I can't believe I called him. I ran the clock all the way down to 0. All I had was top full house. And look, I like to text buddies about hand histories as well, but something? It's not usually about snap calls I make in clear spots where I face an overbet jam. So now this all brings me to my most important point of the day. You've heard these 2 nit rolls to high heaven, and they are disgusting beyond words, but European poker players these last few years, they still seem to have this reputation of being these, brilliant players. And look, a few of them are really good. But I'm going to tell you something. And spread the word around, okay? Because enough is enough is enough. So on the behalf of not only American players who have a well-deserved super fishy reputation, but on the behalf of everyone else around the world, all countries and ethnicities and what have you, know this. European players are the most overrated poker players on the entire planet. Now, I have to be fair and accept the fact that any winning poker player deserves a lot of credit because of how difficult this always is, so obviously they can play. But once you get past all the basic competence and fundamentals, European players are nothing but unimpressive and uncreative nits. There was a time where they seemed to be a lot more balanced and would bluff, because I always saw them showing bluffs to people after they folded, but these days and for a while, I don't know what changed. All I know is month in and month out, all I constantly see is them having no fucking balls whatsoever. They merely have a basic understanding of how to not overvalue a hand and to size pretty well. I'll give them that too. But do not be fooled by their smug and stoic arrogance. Because several years now, I never see any of them do anything but turn over the nuts at showdown on what few occasions they actually get there. And it's not because they're so fucking brilliant that every big bluff gets a fold and every big value hand gets called. No, that doesn't happen to anybody. If you're aggressive, if you're firing big bets on the river, with or without a hand, you're going to get results you don't want sometimes. There's just no getting around it. There's just variance in the decisions people make. Nobody gets everything they want every single fucking time they make a move, no matter what result they're going for. So I don't want to hear any more about how great the Euros are, because it's the biggest flaming crock of shit I've ever fucking heard. Now, they might get a lot tougher as you move up in stakes. Okay, great. You know what? So does everybody else. The point is, do not talk to me about European players, because these two hands are two deafening examples of just how brilliant they are not. Nit-rolling the motherfucking shit out of me with second set in a 3-bet pot and top full in a single raise pot that featured some added position overbetting. Okay. Big fucking deal. I'm not saying every Euro would have nit-rolled me as bad as those two guys did. I'm just saying sometimes you have to take some sort of chance. You can't just sit around all day and night waiting for the stone cold fucking nuts, but that's more or less exactly what the Euros are doing. Although in the case of these two guys, even having the virtual nuts still wasn't enough. They both still needed an Academy Award each before sighing and calling off of the hand that had a minimal chance of losing. So, all right, I think that'll just do for today. I still got some other hands I want to talk about from last week, but, got some funny stories there too, but, that can all wait. I'll get to it soon enough. For now, well, I don't know. I guess I could use a glass of water or two. Maybe take a nap as well while I try and sleep off the stunning aggravation of these unthinkable, unfathomable, epic, and sickening nitrolls from the most overrated ethnicity background, whatever the fuck word I'm even supposed to use, in all the poker world. The Europeans. We'll see you next time.